And hello, everybody. This is Todd Nielsen with Catalyzing the Future, and I am here today with Barry O'Reilly to talk a little bit about his upcoming micro workshop. For those of you who are maybe just kind of tuning in for the first time and looking to understand a little bit more about Catalyzing the Future, we are all about creating conversations that engage with some of the brightest and best thinkers available to complicate and improve our ways of engaging with thorny or wicked problems. I think is the phrase that I like to use a lot. And Barry, welcome. Really glad you're able to join us today. What part of the world are you hailing from here?
Okay, so I'm calling in from Stockholm in Sweden, where I live. I'm originally from the northern part of Ireland.
Excellent. Well, it's good to see you again. Really appreciated all your contributions on the September 30th event that we ran, and wanted to welcome you back to the show here today, so that we could talk a little bit about the upcoming day of training on December the 9th and your specific micro workshop, which is going to be a 90-minute workshop on the topic of applying residuality theory for resilient software engineering. Would you care to maybe explain a little bit about what that is to someone who's thinking about maybe attending the event?
Yeah, so residuality theory is a kind of philosophical idea that says that our futures aren't determined by our actions in the present, but they're determined by things that we've done in the past and the leftovers. Whatever's left, we pick up what we've got and we make the best of it. And as opposed to the way that we do engineering today, where we believe that we're in control, that we predict the future, and that we have all the tools we need, and that things will work out. Residuality theory is a combination of software engineering, software design, and complexity theory, where we actually take complexity theory, which for many software engineers is something that's very interesting and intriguing, but of very, very limited practical use. We take it and we turn it into something that software engineers can use to help them make decisions about the structure and the shape of the systems that they're going to design and build.
So if someone is thinking about attending the workshop, what are they going to get out of it as far as getting to spend this 90 minutes with you?
Okay, so the most important thing that they'll get out of it is that we'll shake their cage, and we'll ask software engineers and systems designers and project managers and anyone who's involved in the design of software systems to take a step back, because we're very busy people. We have a lot to do, and we have to do things under very stressful circumstances. Very often we don't spend a lot of time stepping back, but step back and say, why do I, as an architect or a software designer or a software engineer, why do I think the way I think? Where did I get my ideas from? What's the underlying basis for my logic and my decision making? And a great deal of people who've been educated within STEM have a hard time answering those questions. And the truth is that the way we think and the way we make decisions goes all the way back to, of course, to Aristotle, but to Descartes and Newton and John von Neumann, and then there were some ideas in the 60s and cybernetics, and it's this mishmash of ideas that's led to a bunch of instincts. And we're working as engineers, building software systems in complex environments without any real scientific credibility to our thinking or our ideas, and absolutely zero reproducibility in what we do. And so residuality theory is an attempt, both commercial and academic, to remedy that, to give us a way to design and build software systems that's based on scientific thinking, on rigor, and empirical evidence. So it will cause attendees should step back, think, why, maybe for the first time, ask the question, why do I make the decisions I make, and what's informing those decisions, and is there another way to think about this? And then we'll present residuality theory, which very definitely is a new way to think about things. And whereas we might see the world in terms of components and processes, we'll find out during this workshop that that's actually a very dangerous way to look at a complex system, because it obscures and hides all the nastiness that we don't want to see. and allows our bias to drive and dictate what's going to happen when we design a system. And instead, we'll accept our fallibility, our inability to predict the future, our inability to understand the systems that we're working with. And then on a more positive note, we'll look at, now that we've accepted our lack of power or control over these systems, what can we do to surf the wave of chaos that exists in there and actually deliver something at the end of the day. And the focus is to be able to better deliver software systems that we can actually consider resilient, rather than just throwing that word around. So at the end of the 90 minutes, you should have a fairly concrete idea of how you go about this. Very, very small changes that you need to make in your thinking, small changes that you need to make in your design process for software that will give you massive, massive returns in the future. And the potential to be able to build software systems that you can convincingly, incredibly call resilient.
Great. Sounds like a great session, but obviously I'm biased about that. But I think, I guess one of the questions I would be asking if I'm thinking about taking the workshop, is this just for software engineers and architects? Is anybody else going to get some value out of it as well?
So it's primarily aimed at architects and software engineers, but anyone who's in the business of designing any kind of system, and that can be an organization or a department or a startup looking at how are we going to structure this thing as we scale. Any of those, anyone who's tasked with building something complicated that's going to live in a complex environment will be able to get something out of the idea of residuality theory. Absolutely. And so one of the things we'll be focusing on in the workshop is the concept of stress and how systems should be defined, not by requirements, not by the functions that they're expected to execute, which are actually very easy to work with, but by the stress that a system can be exposed to, which gives us an entirely new perspective on risk management, which is useful to anyone if you're a manager or a project manager or a developer or an architect.
Fantastic. Well, Barry, I think it sounds like it's going to be an amazing session with a lot of great insights. And residuality theory, that's your baby. That's what you created, correct?
Yes. So residuality theory is the product of my commercial work, which was called Anti-Fragile Systems Design, which is a very pragmatic set of steps for architects to design systems quickly that would give them some level of resilience. And I've taken an academic approach, so I'm reading for a PhD, and anti-fragile systems design has become residuality theory, which is a more concrete and mathematical approach to proving how we best can model complex systems when we don't have enough information or insight to actually model anything useful. So it's very timely given what most organizations are experiencing in 2020. How do we solve problems when we don't know what the problem is? We don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, and we don't actually know what problem we want to solve. That's what we'll be investigating, all in the course of 90 fun-packed minutes.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, very looking forward to it. Thanks for taking the time out to give a quick shout out to those who are thinking about taking the workshop. And we will see you on December 9th.
Yep. See you then, Todd. Thank you.
All right.